Major wrestling breaking news. Unfortunately, not good news. WWE reportedly had a conference call today informing employees that many of them will be furloughed, that they will be learning about that furlough via text message, not even Skype or phone. And they just announced, WWE, that 5 superstars have been released. And I feel awful for these people, especially because of the fact that, well, they can't get bookings right now. There are no conventions going on. We're in the middle of the worst recession in United States history. Here are the names. WWE has come to terms on the release of Drake Maverick, James Curtin, Curt Hawkins, a.k.a. Brian Myers, Karl Anderson, a.k.a. Chad Allegra, Luke Gallows, EC3, and Lio Rush. Man, actually, that's 6 superstars. When they originally tweeted it out, they didn't mention Gallows. Well, Luke Gallows now on that list. So that is crazy to think about, in my humble opinion. First things first, my heart goes out to all of these people affected. And not just wrestlers, but obviously anybody that's affected by COVID-19. Granted, all of us are in some capacity, but especially the people that obviously are fighting on the front lines, the people that are in the hospital, and of course the people that have lost their jobs or have been furloughed for the time being. I mean, it sucks. And look, if you're blessed enough to still have a job in your health right now, knock on wood, be safe. Now, let's tackle these releases one by one, okay? I think that's important to do, but this is nuts. Now, by the way, I do have a feeling that these aren't going to be the first releases we see. What annoys me, real quickly before we get to each one individually, is that they probably should have made some roster cuts over the years just to keep things fresh, and they could have let some people go and wrestle in AEW or New Japan Pro Wrestling or wherever and make some money. And instead, they just kept these people kind of like on a retainer, barely used them. And yeah, now they've been sent packing when they can't get any freaking bookings. So, I don't know. It's just more on that in a second. Let's just get to this one by one. So, Drake Maverick released, the former Rockstar Spud. Super, super talented guy. Talented worker, fantastic talker, great personality. He was an awesome GM on 205 Live until they made him a little bit wacky. Really great guy. I would love to see him end up back in Impact Wrestling, or his roots, ROH, wherever the case may be. He will be an asset to any company when they get back up and running. And I know AEW shouldn't be signing every single WWE cast-off, but he's a guy to me. Like, it's unfortunate they have so many freaking announcers and on-air personalities, because I think Drake Maverick would be absolutely perfect for them. But we'll see what happens. He is great. Curt Hawkins, super well-respected veteran. Obviously, he's been a job guy most of his WWE career, but don't let that fool you. He's always been a strong worker, well-respected, a great trainer as well with Pat Buck with the Creative Pro Wrestling Academy in New York, I believe in the Long Island area. They've put out a number of prospects, including MJF and AEW. Excellent talent. I think all these talents will actually land on their feet, but Drake Maverick, they weren't doing much with. They had a weird storyline with him and Dana Brooke, even though he's married, and he was married in storyline. Curt Hawkins, he wasn't doing much with Zack Ryder. Unfortunately, he's back on the unemployment line, but he does still have his school. Problem is, how can you really train people when you have social distancing measures, right? It is tough. I know the Monster Factory here in Jersey has been actually doing virtual evaluations of wrestlers and everything and reviewing matches, so hopefully they could do that, but yeah, it is quite unfortunate for him. Karl Anderson, a.k.a. Chad Allegra. Karl Anderson, of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling fame, WWE fame. Luke Gallows, we could put them kind of in the same company since they both did New Japan and then went straight to WWE. I feel like there was a lot of money left on the table with Gallows and Anderson. The last 3-4 years, yeah, they've been kind of geeks for the most part, but these dudes had a real buzz when they debuted in 2016. I really feel like had they been treated better and taken more seriously from the jump, they could have been real moneymakers for WWE. They still had a nice run with AJ as the OC, as the club, or whatever you want to call them. They had a fun appearance in that Boneyard match. And look, I guess if there's something poetic about this, what a way to go out, right? You go out in one of the main events of WrestleMania. That being said, it is kind of bizarre. Kind of bizarre if you ask me. And I guess AJ's back to being a loner again. EC3, a.k.a. Michael Hutter, a.k.a. Derek Bateman, a.k.a. Ethan Carter III. I expected this release. I feel really bad for him, though, because really, the guy has a lot of talent, and he showed that in Impact Wrestling, and I have no idea why WWE re-signed him if they weren't going to do anything with this poor dude. I mean, look, you can say what you want about some of his views outside of the ring, whatever the case may be. If you're just judging by his talent in the ring, look, bell to bell, he is not one of the best workers in the business. No, nobody will say that. But the guy as a overall package is a hell of a professional wrestler. And he carries himself like a star. He speaks like a star. He looks great physically. I think the problem with him is that this EC3 is a great fit for WWE of like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago. Not so much now, right? Because a lot of these guys, a lot of guys look great, but a lot of guys can also work better than him. That being said, I still think he could have been utilized better. I think maybe him not getting cheered against Dean Ambrose in that ill-fated debut he had last year, it may have done him in. I don't really know. I don't really know. I guess he rubbed somebody the wrong way. Really unfortunate, if you ask me. He proved to be a massive star in TNA, or at least a potentially massive star. He was a big star for them in that bubble, but he had the potential to be a massive star in WWE. I don't really get it, but, look, when you're WWE, and I think maybe this is the reason a lot of wrestlers, despite logic, are still working amidst this freaking pandemic. When you're WWE, you have such a deep roster of talent you could call up anytime that it's like an EC3 who would be a diamond for Impact Wrestling or ROH really isn't that in WWE, and it's unfortunate. Those are the breaks. By the way, I am amazed that any of these WWE talents are still working right now. I mean, y'all can't get a doctor's note. I get it, but man, I don't know. You talk about the psychology of today's generation. I'm not trying to insult these guys and girls because I respect the hell out of them and what they're doing right now too. But my God, I mean, you talk about taking the ultimate risk right now. Never mind the fact you already take a risk going in the ring in the first place. And then lastly, Lio Rush, Lionel Green was also released. That also is really unfortunate because I know the guy apparently had some issues. I don't know if they were mental or just some personal problems or whatever the case may be. Maybe he was just a pain in the ass backstage, as some people said. I've heard that before. Even in indies, he can be a bit of a pain in the ass. But here's a guy, carries himself like a star, great wrestler. He could work on some things as far as polishing certain things here and there. Jim Cornette once said that this guy could be money as a manager. I actually totally agree with that assessment. I thought him and Bobby Lashley were totally money, and I guess because he rubbed some people the wrong way, because he has confidence in himself, which is what you want from all your talent. I mean, you want... I guess Vince McMahon wants them to be submissive and just do what he tells them to do like they're doing right now, but in reality, you want guys and girls who believe in themselves, who carry themselves like a star, who can project well. Okay, you want people that can try to come off larger than life. And I know it's kind of funny because he's not a big guy at all, larger than life. But he is a guy that tried to come off larger than life, that wanted to come off like a star. Okay, this guy isn't a bum. All right, don't let him fool you. He isn't a bum. He's an absolute stud. And again, I think he, like EC3, like a lot of these people on this list, pretty much like everybody on this list of releases, will end up eventually landing on their feet. But Lio Rush, man, he is a talent that I would not have let go right now. And it's just, I mean, what can you say? It's unfortunate for everybody. I mean, think about it. Drake Maverick, newlywed. Curt Hawkins has a family, lives in New York, which ain't cheap. Karl Anderson, Luke Gallows both have families. I think Luke Gallows just recently got married. Karl Anderson just had another kid. He's got like a family of like 4 or 5. EC3, I don't know what his marital situation is, but still, it sucks for him. And, Lio Rush, I believe, has a young son. So it's, yeah. It just sucks. It just sucks. Now, as far as the rest of the updates, this is from PWI Insider and Wrestling Inc. Here's what was reported earlier. So Vince McMahon said during a call that employees will be furloughed. Some employees, I should say. Vince said he hopes to have them back when the situation is resolved, but there's no timeline. Furloughed employees will receive a text message from WWE Human Resources immediately. A text message. I get that there's a lot of employees in WWE, but it's not like this is freaking Bloomberg or Time Warner or Goldman Sachs or any of these gigantic companies. WWE is a small company compared to a lot of these other companies, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, whatever, and you're going to inform people via text message. Yeah, seems par for the course. WWE will also be cutting talent, which will be permanent cuts. There should be announcements on that as soon as today, which, of course, there sadly already has been. Construction of the new WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut has been delayed 6 months. The move was expected to happen in early 2021. WWE has also canceled third-party consulting contracts. Now, that sucks because, well, third-party vendors, they rely on companies like WWE to make money. One of my relatives works for a consulting company, and yeah, it's tough sledding right now. Oof. By the way, if you're watching the live chat, if you're listening on the live chat, we'd appreciate it if you click that like button, share this with all your friends, subscribe, and please enable notifications. It helps our cause. Let's go to some of the live feedback here. Rasquan Shabaka says, damn, man, R.I.P. to the OC. Yep. He says, the OC leaving makes me think AJ will leave when his contract's up. I believe he just signed a new deal, and he said that he pretty much just said that this is his last contract. So I think AJ's just securing that bag at this point. Spanish God-ish says, my money is on Mike Kanellis next. I hate to speculate about that stuff, but honestly, if you had I mean, look, anybody's on the table, right? I'm pretty surprised. I would say pretty mildly surprised about the OC because they have been featured. That does surprise me. I don't know, but yeah, I don't think anybody's safe. You know, honestly, not to scare anybody, but I do think none of the NXT UK roster is safe. I don't think they have any first run shows lined up for a long time. Whereas NXT still going to be running live shows, Raw and SmackDown still running live shows, but not NXT UK. And for those that don't know, and this has been blowing up actually in the mainstream news, WWE has been deemed an essential business by the state of Florida. An essential business. Now, you might be wondering how that is. Well, Linda McMahon runs a super PAC that is trying to get Donald Trump reelected. They donated $18.5 million. $18.5 million. I repeat, 18.5 milli to the state of Florida alone. Coincidence? I think not. So this is what annoys me about these cuts. And I understand companies have to make cuts and everything else. But you donate nearly $19 million to a re-election campaign. You bankrupt the XFL. And from what I understand, and when I originally did my video blog on the XFL going bankrupt, I did speak to a couple people in finance that are a lot smarter than me when it comes to bankruptcies and stuff like that. And they said there is still a chance that Vince McMahon could pay off these people he owes money to, and this is just a way for him to settle some debts and whatever. But based on what I've seen on Twitter from some people that are owed money, including a number of freelance photographers, it looks like some of these people, or a lot of these people, maybe all of these people, may never see the money owed to them by Vincent Kennedy McMahon, who is worth roughly $1.8 to $2 billion. So you bankrupt the league, don't pay people, you donate nearly $20 million to your boy Donald Trump so he could put you on a fake-ass economic committee, and Governor DeSantis, whatever the hell his damn sycophant's name is, can let you run in Florida. You put your workers at risk. You put them in all these health risks. You don't even social distance on the freaking show. Jerry Lawler, who's 70 years old with a heart condition, is just standing next to Tom Phillips and all these guys. And you insist on running WrestleMania when you're in all likelihood, it's caused your company to lose anywhere between 10 to 20 million dollars in revenue, if not more. Now, I realize they broadcasted live on the network, and it was also available on pay-per-view for the 5 people that bought it for full price. And I realize that maybe by the fall, you still won't be able to have live crowds. But guess what? Wouldn't it have made sense if you delayed it? If you postponed it? If you hyped it up a little bit more? If you gave Americans and people worldwide some time to absorb the shock of this pandemic economically, health-wise? And who knows? Maybe by September, you have the curve flattened, knock on wood. You have some type of treatment, knock on wood. And guess what? At least in America, we're getting our stimulus checks eventually, or at least some people are. And I know it's kind of a big scam for the most part, but a lot of people will be at least getting some semblance of $1,200, barring any fugaziness. And who knows if that's going to happen. But still, why not wait till the stimulus kicks in? Human nature says some people want to treat themselves, whether it be the McDonald's, whether it be a new pair of jeans, or, you know what, a WWE Network subscription. And instead, y'all can't be patient. You run the show anyway, and look what happens. And now you're cutting a bunch of wrestlers, putting them out of work, putting a bunch of employees out of work. Okay, and for the employees, I'm sure they were making good money. But guess what, man? Stamford, Connecticut is expensive as hell to live in. And now they're going to be unemployed in Stamford, Connecticut, in one of the hot zones of the virus, okay, that New York area, excuse me. Okay, I'm in New Jersey with the second most cases in the country. I am not proud of that. Nobody should be proud of that. It's a mess, man. It's a mess, and I don't know. I could definitely see WWE down the road if they continue to get this backlash and if they continue to get low ratings. By the way, Raw did 1.9 million viewers. Some people may say, oh, well, they were still one of the top shows on cable. They were, but guess what? The amount of money that goes into Love and Hip Hop is a lot less than the money that goes into WWE, Raw, and SmackDown. And NXT, for that matter. And I don't know. I could definitely see WWE being sold down the road once this stuff kind of clears up. And for a lot less money than it would have gotten before. I could definitely see more shareholders down the road asking questions like, wait a minute. We didn't have to run WrestleMania. Wait a minute. You told us WWE and XFL were separate entities, and now they're not. You told us that you'll be able to right the ship, and I don't know. Look, Vince McMahon survived everything so far, and he's still boys with Trump, and he's on the stupid economic committee and everything else. I don't know. All I can say is this: no matter who is president, you better believe that right now Vince McMahon has a target on his back from media, from probably some disgruntled employees and everybody else. And I think it's going to be a very interesting few months in WWE land for pro wrestling. And look, if they have, I've said this before, I'm going to stop beating the drum about this because it should be common sense by now. But if they have one or two more positive tests, I mean, this can sink wrestling, at least for the time being, because there won't be wrestling shows being run for a while if people test positive in WWE. I know they had one on-air talent test positive, but I'm talking about pro wrestlers. Same thing with AEW. So shout out to ROH, MLW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Bellator MMA for exercising some patience and restraint. Because WWE right now, UFC right now, AEW to a lesser extent, are certainly not. And I am not a fan of that. And look, I need something to talk about. I run a channel that covers wrestling, but I care about human lives more. Fayez Abdul says, WWE hasn't released any women since 2019. That's interesting. Really? I didn't realize that. I guess not. Lucci Club Studios. Wasn't Drake Maverick part of the NXT Cruiserweight tournament? I don't know. I've barely been paying attention to that. I probably should. But, 205 Live is just so been under my radar, like it has for a lot of people. But, yeah, I guess he was supposed to participate in it. Puerto Rican Ham says, does this mean WWE is almost done? No, I don't think so. Again, I think it's going to take something catastrophic. I mean, it's getting there. Look, they are playing with fire right now. And I am not wishing anybody getting sick, getting hurt, losing money, anything like that. I'm just saying, you look at what happened with the NBA with multiple players, including Kevin Durant, one of their biggest stars, getting sick. You look at MLB, and while I don't think any Major League Baseball players tested positive, a number of minor leaguers tested positive, okay? You look at soccer. I believe Arsenal's manager, I don't follow soccer too much, so my apologies if I'm getting this wrong, but I believe Arsenal's manager tested positive, all right? Affected the Premier League and all these other leagues. So if soccer isn't immune, if baseball isn't immune, if basketball isn't immune from the health and economic problems that this has caused, why do I believe that WWE, AEW, and UFC are the lucky ones here? It's just, you just got to base it off of evidence, right? I mean, it's inevitable, unfortunately, that something's going to, I mean, somebody in WWE already got sick and they're still running shows. Granted, they recovered, thank God. But I'm just saying, again, nobody's wishing this, but you are playing with fire when there's not real testing. You're playing with fire when there's no real treatment, all right? And when there's no real healthcare capacity right now. God forbid some active wrestler gets infected or active fighter, and they spread it to other people, and then they fly on a plane, and they spread it to other people. I mean, it's catastrophic. It is potentially catastrophic. That is not an understatement. All in the name of making money. And by the way, I do think, the more I think about it, the more I believe that, Vince McMahon has to run live shows due to his TV contract is a farce. It's a farce. I'm not saying there's not language in the contract that dictates that. I'm saying that they're using that as an excuse because I don't see any of these networks breathing down the NBA's neck to run live shows or run live games or shows or whatever the case may be. Same with the NHL, same with Major League Baseball. So I think there are reasonable people at Fox Sports, at NBC Sports, and I just think it's one of those things where Vince McMahon is using this as an excuse to keep lining his pockets. And yes, the wrestlers are getting paid. Yes, for the wrestlers that are still employed, the staff that's still employed, they're cashing in those checks, but at what cost? Man. WWE should release... I'm not going to talk about who they should release. Okay. WWE isn't done, but this is a blow if I've ever seen one. Yeah, this is a blow to everybody. I mean, think about this. Disney right now, according to the New York Times, is losing roughly $30 million or more per day. Per day. Disney. You think about it like, well, Disney owns ESPN. Well, there's no sports. Well, Disney owns the Disney Library. That's great, but they still had movie releases that they had to delay. What else does Disney own? Theme parks. What else does Disney own? Cruise lines. Yeah, those are good at getting royally effed right now. Why won't Donald Trump tell Vince to shut down? Why won't Donald Trump tell the entire country to shut down rather than states having to make their own decision? South Dakota still hasn't shut down. I don't think Arkansas and Idaho is it Iowa. I don't know, one of those I states haven't shut down yet. It is freaking crazy. I'm telling y'all right now, if you're in a state or in a region that hasn't shut down yet and you think you're fine, I know New Jersey, New York are a lot more densely populated than maybe where you live right now, but I'm telling you, this shit is real. This shit is no joke, okay? I mean, this is, you got to take it seriously. Okay, I know a lot of nurses on the front lines. I'm sure somebody knows somebody that knows somebody that's been affected at least. You got to take it seriously. Okay, people can say whatever they want about reopening sports and all this other stuff, and I think over time you can do it safely. You can over time, but you need facts. You need knowledge. You don't need some douchebag politician. You don't need a sports commissioner telling you that. You need a list of people that know what the hell they're doing, or at least as close to what the hell they're doing as possible, given the unique situation. PR says, I got my check. All right, good. Lucha Club Studios, Daniel Bryan is still here. He was part of the Nexus. Yeah, I'm surprised Daniel Bryan's still wrestling with WWE right now and not home because he has immune system issues, and his wife is pregnant, and he's got a young daughter. Whoa, okay. My buddy just said that Heath Slater has now been officially released. Is that the case? I haven't seen that anywhere. Let me see if I could find that anywhere. Wow. All right. Somebody's saying that Heath Slater has been released. Let me see. Wait a second. Wait a second. Hang on. Okay. Whoa. Okay. This is all coming in right now. Holy crap. Okay. From PWI Insider. WWE releases producers Dave Finlay, a.k.a. Fit Finlay, Mike Rotunda, a.k.a. Bray Wyatt's dad, a good wrestler in his own, back in his day in his own right. Shane Hurricane Helms, who's a friend of the show. I really like Shane Helms. That sucks. I mean, it sucks for all of them, but especially sucks for people you know, man. That sucks. I really like Shane Helms. And Lance Storm. Jeez, man. That sucks. Okay. Oh, but okay, I'm retweeting that right now. All right. Wow, you know what's crazy? Mike Rotunda, a.k.a. IRS, was just on the bump today, and they released him. What the freaking hell? Okay, what the hell? Wow, Heath Slater has been added to the list. Oh, man. Heath Slater, a.k.a. Heath Miller, released, and that's a shame because if you watch that FCW documentary, they spoke very highly about Heath Slater. He's had so much potential. He's always been a reliable worker. He was one and a half of the first SmackDown Tag Team Champions ever with Rhino. It's crazy, and now he's gone. I mean, that sucks. And Erick Young, a.k.a. Jeremy Fritz, former TSC News guest, even though he blocked us for no reason. I don't know why. Probably from the TNA days, has been released. I feel bad for him because that's another guy, really good worker. You know what's crazy? I never liked Erick Young as part of Sanity. This might sound crazy to some people that enjoyed his TNA run, and I did too, but I always felt like Erick Young was one of those few people that was way better at being a comedy guy than a serious wrestler. And it's kind of like Santino Marella, right? Santino Marella would have been absolute death if he stayed a serious wrestler at WWE. He would have been gone like that. But Erick Young, on the other hand, very similar, I think, to Santino. Now, a much better worker than Santino ever was, and he can be serious at times, but Erick Young to me is a guy that's super entertaining when given the right opportunities. Has some questionable taste in tattoos. Maybe he's visited Cody Rhodes' tattoo artist lately. But all that being said, naturally funny guy. Really well liked him in the business. Again, he's another guy I could see eventually landing on his feet. And look, I'm not a huge Impact Wrestling guy right now. Not a fan of Tessa Blanchard as champion. Not a fan of her period, given her transgressions outside of the ring. But man, if Impact Wrestling is going to keep spending some money and keep this thing pumping, whether it's a freaking front for something else or a tax write-off for Anthem or whatever the hell it is, I don't even know how they're making money right now. I would definitely, if I were TNA, Impact, whatever you want to call them, I would pick up EC3 again, and I would pick up Erick Young again. And you know what? Maybe I might watch Impact again if they pick those guys back up, but that sucks. That sucks, man. Yeah. This is, oh my God, this is crazy. So Lance Storm, for those that don't know, he's also a former TSC News guest. You can check that out in the archives. I'm really close friends with Paul Lazenby, who's a good friend of his too. And him and I were chatting about this a few months back about, wow, Lance Storm's closing down his school. And we were wondering, why is Lance Storm closing down his school when he's so successful? And it turns out Lance Storm was offered a WWE producer role. So Lance Storm, literally as of a few months ago, I think at the beginning of this year, closed down his school. One of his last notable trainees, Rey Mysterio's son, Dominic. You wonder why Dominic looks so smooth in the ring so far in the small sample sizes we've seen. It's because of Lance Storm. And so he closed down his school. I don't think he moved, but he went back on the road as a WWE producer. And now he's released. Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. And look, man, I knew we were going to have releases. I knew this wasn't going to be a good day at all for folks, but the more I'm seeing these names, the more I see the news coming in, and it's just horrible news, the more pissed off I am at WWE and Vince McMahon. And I appreciate y'all for hopping in if you're watching or listening to this live, because I kind of did this on the fly, expecting this to be like a 5-minute thing, and it seems like there's just news coming in right now, and it just sucks. Again, I'll reiterate for people that just hop on. Vince McMahon has the money to use his financial resources to donate $18.5 million to the Trump campaign to be able to run in Florida and be deemed an essential business alongside hospitals and pharmacies. He has the lack of foresight to run WrestleMania at a massive loss. And he bankrupts the XFL and presumably gangsters a bunch of people out of money, including head coaches, probably some players, and among other people, freelance photographers who have publicly tweeted out that they will probably never see the few $1,000s they're owed by billionaire Vince McMahon. And then his douchebag proceeds to furlough employees and permanently cut wrestlers. Now, you might be wondering, what does furlough mean? No, it's different for every company, but I know with Disney, they furloughed a number of employees. Granted, they employ a lot more people and are taking a lot more losses. But from what I understand, usually that means you can be brought back. And there are cases with, I believe, Disney where you do get to keep your benefits. So I hope to God that these people that have been released right now, or the staff members have been released, get to keep their benefits. Now, wrestlers, unfortunately, they don't have benefits. They are independent contractors because for 3, 4, 5, 6 decades, WWE's been able to get away with that BS. And it's one thing where it's a free market and there's no pandemic going on and they could get a regular job or even work at Starbucks and get part-time benefits. I don't know, whatever the case may be. It's another thing when there's a pandemic, when not a lot of companies are going to be keen on hiring right now, especially people that were full-time pro wrestlers. Oh, my God. Holy crap. More from PWI Insider. WWE producers Billy Kidman also released. Former WCW and WWE Cruiserweight champion, standout talent, very well-respected backstage as a producer. Was actually one of the people close to kind of Triple H and Vince McMahon. That's very surprising in my opinion. So so that's another casualty right now. Actually, I probably shouldn't say the word casualty, but you know what I'm saying. Another cut. Pat Buck, the co-owner of Creative Pro Wrestling, the pro wrestling promotion and school, he's gone and that sucks because Pat Buck hasn't even been on the road. I don't think he's even been with them for like a year. One of the trainers of MJF, among other talents, a very well-respected trainer. Also the founder of not PWS, what is it now? WrestlePro. He used to run PWS, Pro Wrestling Syndicate, later founded WrestlePro. I believe Kevin McDonald has been running that for him. I don't know if I'm pretty sure Pat Buck still owns a stake in WrestlePro, the top independent promotion in New Jersey, one of the top promotions in the country. Before the pandemic, they were regularly drawing anywhere between 500 to 1,000 fans or more on their shows. They were also the first indie promotion to regularly run Alaska. So I think Pat Buck eventually will land on his feet as well. But yeah, this is tough. Also, a man with a young family. This sucks. Scott Armstrong, the producer and a former referee, who's the brother of Road Dogg, Brian James, Brian Armstrong, whatever you want to call him, he's been released. Sarah Stock, a.k.a. Sarita of TNA Impact Wrestling fame, a.k.a. the Lucha Wrestling women's legend, a.k.a. a well-respected producer backstage with the women and men. She's gone. So now to recap, 9 producers gone from WWE so far. Billy Kidman, Mike Rotunda, who was literally just on WWE programming, Dave Finley, Pat Buck. Oh, wow, Shawn Daivari as well. Daivari, the former wrestler who famously managed Kurt Angle and Muhammad Hassan, also had a run in TNA Impact Wrestling as the X Division champion as Sheikh Abdul Bashir. He, brother of Arya Daivari, 205 Live superstar. He's gone too. That sucks. Scott Armstrong, Sarah Stock, Shane Hurricane Helms, and Lance Storm. This sucks. This sucks. Whoa. What the freaking hell? Kurt Angle and Aiden English have been released by WWE. Kurt Angle, who was on a Legends deal. What the? I'm sorry. I don't like to curse on these things. What the fuck? Kurt Angle's been released? Kurt Angle's not even a real active talent. Here's what pisses me off about this. Never mind the fact I'm pissed off about everything now. Oh my God. Okay. Let me collect myself. Let me collect my thoughts. Okay. By the way, if you're just joining the live stream, I'd appreciate if you'd like this video, share this with all your friends, and subscribe. All right. They released Kurt Angle. God, I'm going to have to change the title of this freaking thing. Kurt Angle broke his back, his neck for his business. And I realize that he took a lot of crazy bumps in Impact Wrestling as well for a lot of years. And he was actually in Impact longer than he was in WWE. But he's been back with WWE the last 3 years. That Kurt Angle farewell tour was sad to watch because, 1, he lost to Baron Corbin at the end. But 2, he looked so slow out there. And meanwhile, WWE publicly is like, oh, we keep our wrestlers safe. You're sending Kurt Angle out there every freaking week rather than saving him for special occasions. And here's a guy. If there was ever a guy that WWE owed a lifetime contract to, it's Kurt Angle. Because before he even got to Impact Wrestling, the guy had a messed up neck, messed up everything, drug problems. And granted, I know they tried to send him to rehab and there was all this crap back in the day. All right. But the reality is Kurt Angle's problems began in WWE. And yes, he does share a huge brunt of personal responsibility, but it is Vince McMahon, going back in the day, who put Kurt Angle in the main event of WrestleMania 19 with a broken freaking neck, who brought Angle back months later. And Aiden English is gone too. Who, by the way, just a tidbit, he is also the husband of Shaul Guerrero, the daughter of Eddie Guerrero. Terrible. Just terrible. This is, what is this, Wednesday? This is Black Wednesday. This is Dark Wednesday. This is Hell Wednesday. Whatever you want to call it. All because Vince McMahon couldn't be bothered to hold off on running WrestleMania. All because he couldn't help himself and decided that $18.5 million would be better served pledging to Donald Trump than his talent. Now, by the way, I don't believe that any of these people that are released right now collectively make $18.5 million. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe I'm being naive here. But I was not a math major. I was a journalism major. But I think these guys don't make anywhere near totaling $18.5 million. Which, by the way, I believe campaign contributions can be some type of tax write-off. Never mind the fact that Vince McMahon has barely paid taxes over the years, dating back to the Obama administration and before that, long before that, since he's been publicly traded in 2000. So, yeah. This is Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle. I'm going to keep refreshing the Twitter feed here. Because this is ridiculous. This is just insane. Insane. What the freaking hell, man? Oh, okay. Let's go. Okay, so here's the official list of talent so far. Kurt Angle, Drake Maverick, Kurt Hawkins, the OC, that's Gallows and Anderson, Heath Slater, Erick Young, EC3, Aiden English, and Lio Rush. Let's go to the live chat. Oh, man. What do you think of WWE potentially releasing some executives as well? I mean, they already more or less released some executives. You know, they let go of the co-presidents Michelle Wilson and George Barrios, which is what led originally to the stock going down, because you just abruptly fire your co-presidents. That's crazy. Latoya Wrestleology. Why are people being released? Well, WWE's losing money, so naturally cuts come. I didn't think cuts would come at this level and this ruthlessly, but unfortunately they are. Joseph Sinopoli, they released half of the producers. I feel like they released more than half. I mean, who's there that's still a producer now? Honestly, real talk, who's there now that's still a producer? Is Jamie Noble still employed there? I mean, I think Brian James, Road Dogg is, but Road Dogg's more of a Road Dogg I think was reassigned to NXT, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe he was still on SmackDown. I don't remember. Bruce Pritchard's still there. I guess but Bruce Pritchard's wearing a lot of hats right now. One man can only do so much. Latoya says, I'm new to the channel. Hey, Latoya, what's up? Thank you so much for joining. Much appreciated. Shout out to everybody that's watching and listening right now. By the way, you can also listen to this full podcast and everything, all our other podcasts on our podcast feed. Just search TSC News Podcast on your favorite app, or you can check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/The Sports Courier, at Sports Courier on Twitter, at TSC News on Instagram and IGTV. Sorry, I'm just really sad for a lot of people, man. And it just, there's a saying that Mike Freeman, NFL journalist, keeps tweeting about when it comes to the government's lack of response, when it comes to just certain business people's like Vince McMahon and their conduct throughout all this. It's like, there is no bottom. And I keep feeling it every day. Like, I'm staying positive. I'm healthy. Thank God. I hope all you are too. But, man, it's like this. Mark Cuban said this, and I'm paraphrasing here, but this whole pandemic is going to define companies and brands until the end of time, or at least in the next 10 to 20 years, decades, right? There's going to be people that see how brands like WWE are treating employees, are treating talent, and they're going to and when they finally do get back on their feet and get healthy, they're going to decide with their wallets who to support, who not to support. There's always going to be some hardcore fans. There's always going to be people that want to, make excuses for others and billionaires and things like that. But there's going to be a lot of reasonable people. They're going to see through the veil. They're going to say, you know what? Wow, Vince McMahon's a dick. I'm not going to subscribe to network. Well, I'm not going to go to a live WWE show. And look, if you're a fan, I think between the health risks right now, whenever we do get back to being out and about, who the hell knows how long that'll take, and seeing how he's treating all this talent and wrestlers and even XFL employees who just laid off abruptly. I don't know, man. I love wrestling, but when we're allowed and it's safe enough to get back to going to events again, I might just stick to going to indies and going to ROH shows, because think about this. ROH is owned by Sinclair, which has more or less been a propaganda machine for Donald Trump, at least at times. I think maybe they toned it down a little bit because they were being under investigation. But ROH, being owned by Sinclair Broadcast Group, took more precaution than Vince McMahon and WWE. Sinclair. You humanize Sinclair. MLW, same thing. New Japan Pro Wrestling, same thing. Bellator MMA, which is owned by Viacom, that's closing in on maybe the end of their deal with the Zone that's paying them a lot of money that they're probably not going to get again. They decided to hold off shows. I don't even believe the Zone is paying Bellator right now. I know they're not paying Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing and Anthony Joshua and all these guys until they can run events again. I would imagine Top Rank's in the same boat with ESPN. But they all decided to stop running shows for now. Doing the responsible thing. Vince McMahon? Nope. Ace of Spade, LSG. Sad day for the business thing. Positive for everyone affected by these cuts. It's rough. No, man. It is absolutely rough. By the way, bro, shout out to you. Hope you're staying safe. Love you, my brother. It's just, yeah, man. Look. Again, I'm not wishing anything bad on anybody. I'm not trying to whatever. I try to just I try to just call it like I see it. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, it's just bullshit what's happening. All these people, man. It is bullshit. By the way, I'm just tweeting out a link if anybody wants to retweet that. But yeah, it's bullshit. It sucks. I don't know what else to say. Pardon my language. I don't like to curse on these things, but it fucking sucks. It sucks what's happening to American people. It sucks what's happening to people worldwide. It just makes me sick. It really does. It makes me sick, and you feel like helpless. I don't want to say you feel like survivor's guilt in a way, but you almost feel like helpless. Like you want to help these people. You want to help people on the front lines. You wish you could just snap your fingers and people can, be fed and this and that. And I don't know, man. This is not a wrestling thing, but I don't know. I just feel like I just feel like if people that have the resources, that have the means, I know there are people that have stepped up, but if more people with the resources, with the financial means, stepped up to the plate, woke up, got their collective heads out of their asses, including Vince McMahon, and put money towards not a campaign, but towards finding a cure or procuring some testing supplies from South Korea who's done it right, or Singapore or wherever, I feel like this whole thing would be squashed in a matter of months. There'd still be some risks. You'd still have to take some precautions. But guess what? You'd at least be doing something, okay? Somebody tell me this, okay? Somebody tell me this. What is Vince McMahon doing right now to make this better? Somebody tell me. If you're allowed to run shows during this pandemic and you're allowed to put your workers at risk, you should be obligated to do something beneficial for society. Nobody gives a fuck about professional wrestling right now. Nobody is other than the WWE PR person is saying, oh man, they're woven in the fabric of society. We need professional wrestling. And I love professional wrestling. No. Okay. They should be obligated to at least pledge some money, some resources, something to local hospitals, to food banks, whatever the case may be. It's the right thing to do. Even NFL owners who are greedy as hell did the bare minimum. The bare minimum. What has Vince done? I'm not trying to count into somebody else's pocket here, but what has Vince done? What has Linda McMahon done? What has Stephanie McMahon done? What has Triple H done? Okay, and you know what? I'm not a fan of them running shows at all, whether it be taped or live. But guess what? You know what would be nice? If while they're running shows, they use the platform for something really positive, not smiles and faces, but said, you know what? Every t-shirt you buy, every piece of merch you buy, every network subscription, a portion of the proceeds, maybe half, maybe even all, for the time being, goes to whatever the leading charity is that sends money directly to healthcare workers or victims or whatever the case may be. Then at least it's still kind of scummy. They're still using it for PR purposes, but at least some good would come out of it. But because it's not convenient right now for WWE to do that, they ain't doing it. And again, they're not the only ones. They're not the only people, resources not using their platform for good. They're not. Okay, I don't want to just single them out, but we are talking about wrestling here. And it's just, yeah. Some people are saying here, WWE hoarded talent. Yeah, they did hoard talent. They hoarded talent. They did pay him, which is good. Hey, if you're Mike Kanellis, you're making like 6 figures to do nothing. That's pretty great. You get to spend time with your beautiful family and lovely wife. I mean, that's not... There's worse ways to make a living, but perhaps they should respect the term independent contractor more, right? Moving forward, maybe they should respect the term independent contractor more. And if somebody doesn't want to be there, let him go. And maybe you would be able to save, you would be able to, I don't know, save face is the right phrasing. You don't have to make these drastic of measures if you didn't just sign people for the sake of signing people, right? But again, WWE is just one public company. I mean, there's a lot of companies. I've worked with companies that would spend a ton of money on just BS stuff. My buddy used to work for the EPA. He worked for Lockheed Martin. They had a robot they spent 5 figures on that just sat in his office. Was supposed to take like pH levels, stuff like that. Just sat in his office. You know, there's all kinds of money being wasted on a government level, on a corporate level, with a lot of these companies. And, you know, rather than penalize the people who make these stupid financial decisions in the first place, you penalize the people that, well, shouldn't be penalized. The ones that are going to be most vulnerable, getting a stiff kick in the ass and be put out the door. Nick Walker says, it sucks right now. Latoya says, believe it or not, Linda McMahon is the reason for Debbie's downfall. I mean, in some ways, she kind of is right now. JD says it's a sad day. Yeah, man, it really is. Just wasting talent. Nick says, I love pro wrestling and I hope to be able to see wrestling after the pandemic. Love your channel from Jacksonville. Thank you so much, Nick. I really appreciate it. And by the way, shout out to Jacksonville because I know they have one of the biggest testing centers there near, I think it's near Daly's place where AEW was running before. So while it seems like the state government ain't taking it that seriously, it seems like the local government in Jacksonville kind of is at least. So that's good. Anytime I hear of more testing centers, that's good. I mean, ultimately, I think that's how it's going to be resolved other than a vaccine and medication. Like, you need to test, you need to trace, you need to highlight the hot zones. And you know what? Then you can maybe send people back to work. Then maybe you could do this and that. But it's like people want to go from it's like playing Monopoly, take 200 and go, and they want to just go all the way around. Okay, you got to go through all the steps. You got to go through all the obstacles, man. And at the end of the day, it's like a project, right? Like, I'm a project manager outside of this. Like, the timeline is the timeline. Okay, the timeline has no feelings. The timeline has no friends. The timeline does not give a shit about your feelings or this or that. It's like the virus. I mean, the virus is a lot more fluid and scarier than a project management timeline, but same thing. The virus dictates what happens next. So, you know, rather than playing catch up, maybe play some offense. All of the talent busting their asses, and now this. Yeah, Joseph, it sucks. Paul Heyman will be next. Come on, man. Vince McMahon is feeding his own ego. Yeah, I guess so. He sure ain't feeding these people he just released. I'm assuming. I don't want to. I'm not going to assume anything because the way the XFL people were cut was ruthless. I talked to an employee of WWE who also worked XFL games, and they were telling me that 350 employees were on this conference call last week before XFL officially announced bankruptcy, and they just less than 10-minute call. It was cold and rude. Bam, you're done. Oh, by the way, your emails don't work. You can't log in. You can't get any. If you're a social media person and you have all this footage you want to use for your portfolio, you can't access it. And they took no questions. The least these pricks could do is take some questions, but they didn't do that. Now, from what I understand, all the XFL employees, not the people that are owed money in the bankruptcy filing, but the employees, from what I understand, all did get paid or are on the verge of getting paid. So that is at least some silver lining. It's a low bar. It's a low bar. As I said before, to quote my buddy Mike Freeman, there is no bottom when it comes to some of these people and how they take advantage. Is the XFL really dead? Yes. XFL unfortunately is dead. Filed for bankruptcy, as confirmed the other day by multiple media outlets. They uncovered the filing. Mark Trestman, a few other people. I forgot. Most of the coaches are owed money. A number of freelance photographers are owed money. I feel worse for like the freelance photographers. Not that I don't feel bad for other people, but like for the freelancers, man, like I was a freelancer for a couple years. You know, I still do some freelance gigs here and there, but you know, I'm also, for those that don't know, I run this channel. I host a TV show locally in New York, and then I have a marketing gig, and you know, thank God I'm technically an employee now. But I remember when I freelanced for a couple years when I was underemployed, which is one step below, you know, before unemployed. And one of the worst things that can happen when you're trying to eat, when you need benefits, when you need to stay afloat, is a late payment. What's even worse than that? Not getting a payment at all. Oh, I truly feel for people. Manuel Hernandez, thank you for joining this channel. Murad says Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, and R-Truth may be next. Dude, I don't know. All I can tell y'all is this: like, nobody is safe. If they get rid of Kurt Angle, nobody's safe. Okay, let's see. By the way, they haven't released Rob Gronkowski, so they kept him in his fat contract. Guy who's already rich. Fit Finley tweets to everyone on God's green earth, thank you for the kind words. I've been doing this for 46 years. I pray all you get through this and we could share a hug and drink again and stay healthy. Yeah, this is just... This just freaking sucks, man. This really does suck. And I'm gonna have to hop off. Excuse me, in like a couple minutes, but just want to get. I'm sure I'll be back at some point throughout the day, throughout the week, because the story is far from over. Voices of Wrestling tweets. Keep in mind that McMahon stated that some of the cuts would be classified as furloughs. It is possible some of these people will be brought back at some point. Actually, it is true. That's a good point by them, because producers are technically employees. They're not independent contractors. So in theory, Lance Storm, Billy Kidman, Shane Helms, Mike Rotunda, Daivari, Sarah Stock, Brad Armstrong, among others, could be brought back. It is possible some of these people will be brought back at some point. It's unclear whether these announcements are straight up releases. Okay. Jordan Grace tweets, this is so effing brutal and heartbreaking. Yeah. This is crazy. Wow, this is something Jude Kilgore notes, WWE producer Mike Rotunda, otherwise known as IRS, was just released on tax day. That is crazy. Jake Spad tweets, when you hire 200 wrestlers so they can't work anywhere else, and now you have to fire them after you paid off the government to get classified as essential. Yeah. This is terrible. This is terrible, man. I'm just trying to refresh now and see what else is. Wow. Holy crap. Holy crap. Oh, God. Sarah Logan, Mike Chioda have been released. Sarah Logan, of course, 1/3 of the now former Riot Squad. Really talented performer, never really utilized to the best of her ability. Mike Chioda, been a referee and backstage guy for WWE for decades. Decades. Never mind the fact that this dude doesn't age. He's got some great anti-aging technique. He is now gone. An employee of decades who knows who knows all the company secrets, who knows the ins and outs, who I'm sure could still be an asset to this day, is gone. What the hell? What the hell? By the way, I just, at Sports Courier on Twitter, I just retweeted a tweet from John Pollock. For any independent contractors that may be unable to find work, you could qualify for unemployment. I just retweeted John Pollock's tweet here. I'll be tweeting some links as well and posting some resources in the comments. I know Luke Thomas, who's an MMA, he doesn't consider himself an MMA journalist. He's something of an MMA journalist. MMA Media, former colleague of mine at Spike TV. He has a podcast. He just did a podcast recently with one of the people on the front lines of unemployment and talked about independent contractors as it relates to fighters, because fighters are technically independent contractors, much like pro wrestlers. So anybody that's affected right now, especially if you're an independent contractor, I would definitely seek out some resources right now. And if you want to reach out to me, I'll try to get in contact with some people that may be able to help you. I just want to try to help out people as much as I can, because this is crazy. Oh, okay. I'm trying to see if there's any. I'm trying to follow all this. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy, man. Oh, jeez. Ed says, I feel bad, but I'm happy Gallows and Anderson are gone because WWE's been screwing them over for years. But yeah, creatively screwing them over, but they're not getting paid, so they did get screwed over in more ways than one. Wow, okay. Power Spine 1 Games says Mike Chioda has been with them since 1989. Jeez. Young Welfare asks me, where does this information come from? From WWE.com, from PWInsider.com, and other sources. Sean Vanny died. Did Leo Rush really get released? Yeah, he did. Angel Maniac. Hopefully Heath Slater comes back and wins the WWE title, just like his 3B partners. Look, anything can happen. That seems pretty far-fetched right now. If John Morrison gets released, we have a problem. If more people get released, period, we have a problem, folks. All right? Man, this sucks. This sucks. I do not want to refresh my timeline. 31, yeah, Mike Chioda's been with WWE for 31 years. 31 years. Oh, man. Drake Maverick just posted a video on Twitter. I can't really play it right now, but he obviously looks very emotional. Man, don't mind me. I'm editing the Wikipedia pages. Go ahead. EC3 and Drake said, yeah, it's crazy that EC3 and Drake were never paired together. Maybe they were in like main event or somewhere I missed it. Steven the Dude, Drake Maverick didn't even get to wrestle, and I know he wanted to his whole WWE run. No, he did wrestle, but they were mainly comedy matches. Okay, here's some of the man. This sucks. Believe it or not, yeah, the other people are saying Linda McMahon's to blame. I mean, all the McMahons are to blame, man. This sucks. AEW roster is gonna be huge, dude. I don't know. It's too early to tell who the hell AEW signing, who somebody else is signing. Yeah, this is crazy. This is crazy. Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I don't know if I want to refresh or if I want to just hop on later and just talk to y'all. We have some more information. I mean, I'd imagine these cuts will stop at some point today. They'll probably continue into the week. Oh God, this sucks. What can I say? All right, well, to recap everything for all of y'all, a number of wrestlers have been released. A number of producers have been released. I feel so bad for these people. Drake, here's the people. I'm losing my voice here because I've been ranting. Drake Maverick, EC3, Luke Gallows, Karl Anderson, Leo Rush, Erick Young, Curt Hawkins, Heath Slater, Lance Storm, Shane Helms, Mike Rotunda, Fit Finley, Pat Buck, Billy Kidman, Shawn Daivari, Scott Armstrong, Sarah Stock, Sarah Logan, Mike Chioda, employee of 30-plus years, Kurt Angle, yes, the Kurt Angle, who should honestly be employed for life given what he's given to damn business. And who else? I'm forgetting something. Aiden English as well, who was a great talent, still is a great talent, but hasn't been used in the ring for years. Really good commentator too, but great talent. Okay, yeah. This sucks, man. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say, but it just, I'm trying to look at if there's anybody else. Nah. There's probably some other people I missed. IRS, Mike Rotunda, Scott Armstrong. I think I said Brad Armstrong earlier. My apologies. I meant Scott Armstrong. Pat Buck, Curt Hawkins. This is, man, Billy Kidman. Yeah, I don't know, man. This Fit Finley. This sucks. This really sucks. So I don't know what else to say other than I gotta hop on here, hop off here for now. I'm pretty much at a loss for words at this point. Somebody's asking how these cuts affect John Cena. I'm sure he's annoyed, but he's got money. He's making money. He's fine. If WWE has to cut John Cena, then they really have problems. But what can I say other than my heart goes out to all the people affected today, all the people that have let go by WWE, the names we know, the names we don't know, all the people that are being affected right now. If you have a job and your health, be very thankful. Be very grateful. I don't know if you believe in God or whatever, but just whoever you pray to or believe in, just be very thankful to them right now, because there's a lot of people that are suffering, and it really sucks. And I just hope and pray that we all get through this, and I believe we will, but these times are tough. And in the meantime, I'll do my best to keep y'all informed. I'll do my best to keep y'all entertained. We usually like to keep things on the lighter side here, but sometimes there's days like this where you just have to be blunt as shit and tell people what's really going on, and that's the deal. So I'm sure I'll be back at some point, later tonight, maybe later this week, to fit, and we'll kind of try to make some sense of this. But yeah, I wasn't a big Vince McMahon fan before. I certainly am not right now. I guess technically, given how long this podcast has gone, this is now officially the Sports Courier podcast episode 54. But what an episode it is, one of the more somber ones. But folks, I'm gonna get out of here. I'll talk to you again soon. If you enjoyed this, well, not enjoyed the news, but enjoyed the information you were getting, whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to, what I'm trying to say. If you appreciate this update, there you go. Please like, please share, please subscribe, please enable notifications, because I'm sure we'll have plenty of updates coming up. On a lighter note, I just did a new WWE 2K20 review. I got an interview with The Godfather I recorded before this pandemic, coming up soon. Until then, best wishes. Please stay safe. I pray for y'all. I love y'all. And until next time, enjoy the matches. And please, for all you, hope you land on your feet.